Hi guys, Penny Rose Journals, how you doing? I have two journals for you today to have a look at. We have Aubrey and Hadley. So they're pretty much the same, just slightly different sizes. Have a look. Aubrey is 22 by 14 and Hadley is 24 by 16. So there you go. But like I say, they're pretty much the same. These are just old book covers that have been painted and had all sorts of things done to them, really. There's bits of paper stuck to them, there's some embossing, there's these nice cute little frames with a little dangle. This one's got a little clock charm. Yeah, and they each have a dangle of sorts of bits and pieces on their spine, which is just held together, just held on with a little bulldog clip here. Can easily be removed. So yeah, like I say, basically exactly the same thing over here. Different little bits and pieces, some of them, but yeah, same little bulldog clip. And like I say, these are basically unaltered book covers. They haven't had the spines cut out and redone. They're just as they were. They were fairly sturdy book covers. They were a plain colour, pretty uninteresting stuff, so I decided to jazz them up a bit. There's some tickets, there's some book page, postage stamps, yeah, lots of paint, and like I say, there's a little bit of embossing on there as well. So anyway, let's have a look inside. We will first have a look in Aubrey and then we'll move on to Hadley, and we'll show you them both today. I will make sure they are both in the Ko-fi store by the time this video goes up, so you can have a look at some photographs and whatnot of them over there if you so desire. So we have a little book plate with the number 46. The numbers mean nothing, they just were numbers. I happened to stamp out with this little sort of angel wing charm hanging from the frame. These are relatively unembellished journals. There's a few little bits and pieces here and there, but there's not too much going on. In the front pocket, the front of the book though, we have a pocket just with some sort of ephemera in here, various stamped things, library card, and some reproduction ephemera popped in there. The inside front book plate is just a piece of card with some dictionary page. Just a simple little book page pocket there. We have a little pocket made from a envelope here. Again, just some reproduction ephemera tucked in there. It's been coffee dyed, it's blank on the other side, so you can write on it. Lots and lots of different papers in here. They're all pretty neutral. There's not much going on in the way of colours. There's a bit of eco dyeing, there's coffee dyeing, there's batch dyed things. That's the fly page from a book. More batch dyeing. So yeah, most of it is basically very neutral. I have some of those yellow envelopes that I have in here. Here's one of my last sheets of this. I love this paper. This is the dot matrix printer paper. I'm very sad to see it go. I wish I had more. A sheet of coloured paper that's been coffee dyed. So just some packaging paper. Again, the other side of that envelope, and again there is a sheet of reproduction ephemera tucked in there. It's actually a page out of a book, a herbal book. Again, some brown packaging paper. Here is the first yellow envelope in here. This one is top loading. The side was torn out of this envelope, so I just made a big top loading pocket. And there is some sheets of that same reproduction book page in there. That don't want to go back in now that I'm showing it to you. Can't actually find anything in that side. We'll assume there's nothing in that side for now. You can see this was batch dyed. That's where a tea bag sat against it. You get some really lovely markings from, this was a piece of iron. And again, some markings from a tea bag on this side, but you can see the tea makes such a gorgeous dark mark when it's in the batch dye with the iron pieces. It's the side of a brown paper bag that has been batch dyed. Here is another one of those envelopes. Again, it has been used as a top loading pocket and again has one of those book pages inside. Piece of coloured paper that's been coffee dyed. This is a page out of a travel book. It's been folded up so as to make pockets and has a reproduction book page tucked in there. And the same again on this side. Again with the book page inside this yellow envelope as a big pocket. You see the piece of iron that rested against this in the batch dye. And in the back here we have basically a similar thing to what we had in the front. We have a card that is covered in dictionary as the inside plate, and some reproduction ephemera and some handmade ephemera that is just stamped items. This is double over brown paper bag, and these two are made out of file folders. So yeah, inside a cute little pocket that's made to look a bit like a small file folder. I've just popped it on its side and glued the bottom so that there's somewhere to tuck all these interesting little things. You can tuck behind it and inside it. So there we go. That's Aubrey, number 46. And I will show you through Hadley. And like I say, Hadley is very similar. They are both quite similar. We have our book plate here with a little dangle on it that is being a bit stiff for some reason. There we go. Got a bit twisted around. There's a little clock on it. Inside we have the same setup. It is the dictionary covered card on the inside, holding everything nice and securely, and one of these book page pockets that just has again some ephemera. It is just stamped file folder and brown paper bag, and this reproduction ephemera. I have a pocket here that's just made out of a batch dyed envelope, again with a very similar sort of load of things inside. One of my batch dyed yellow envelopes, and just a bit of printed ephemera that's been coffee dyed there. That same brown paper packaging, another eco dyeing page. Another side of a brown paper bag, quite a tall one. This was chrysanthemums, this eco dyeing. turned out quite well. You can see them quite well on most of these papers. There's the other side of that envelope and another one of those images, a printed image. And the other side of just the regular envelope, and again, little piece of pre-printed ephemera. Simple book page. Here's another envelope. It is just got a little bit of ephemera inside, pin cut at the ends. When I got these, they were all glued shut. They were water damaged stock that was being thrown out. So I collected all of them, just what I need, and brought them home and have now hundreds of envelopes I need to work out a use for. So yeah, they go in quite a few of my journals. Again, one of those travel book pages that's been folded up at the bottom to make a pocket, and another one of those book pages, those pre-printed book pages. Again, another pocket. Here's the other side of that envelope, and another piece of that ephemera. Here's a batch dyed, used to be white envelope, just with some more printed ephemera in there. It's all been coffee dyed or tea dyed along the way. So you can see a lot of this was done in the sun with piles of paper and chain draped across it to hold it down. That's what all these little sort of black marks are. It's markings from the chain that was laying over the pages when they were coffee dyed. The side of that envelope. Again, like I say, a very neutral journal. And in the back we have one of these library card pockets I like to make. It's made out of file folder and just a simple card tucked in there. And a couple of pieces of ephemera tucked in the back there, a journal card and a bit of printed page. Again, the back is a card that's been covered in dictionary page. So there we go, that is Hadley. So we have Hadley number 97 and Aubrey number 46. And they will be in the Ko-fi store. So I hope you enjoyed them. They this one has 3 signatures. I believe they both have 3 signatures. Yep, 3 signatures for each of them. And yeah, very, very neutral journals. So, and honestly, if you didn't like the colour, you could still paint over them. They just have this piece of fabric on it. It's already stained and coffee dyed, and it's been through a batch dye. It's one of the pieces of fabric that I use to tie my batch dyes together. So yeah, it's nicely stained and marked and whatnot. So if you got a bit of paint on it, you would never even notice. All right, guys, thanks for spending your time with me today. I appreciate your company as always. I'll see you again next time. Bye.